All three.
Yeah. Is he playing chess?
1, 2, and both.
I don't even know what I was thinking with that.
Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Forman. Today we got real team rider Kai Wescoat with us, and we want to talk about the lost step driver and also some original art from Kai. If anyone's interested out there, they may be building a new house and they're looking for large format freehand art. Kai will come to your house and decorate your house for you, but he does have to have artistic freedom. He cannot be bound in or caged in or anything like that. He needs to be free range. All right, so Kai, let's dig into it. Lost step driver. Tell us about the board, like just in general. Like you've had drivers and sub drivers. Like what is? I think that's the number one question. Is actually what is a step driver?
Yeah, it's just like a really good wave shortboard. Honestly, I wouldn't call it a step up. I wouldn't call it a barrel board. I just call it the waves are good. Grab it and go.
So yeah, I think that's like a place in people's quiver where people get a little bit lost because they got the step down, which is the sub driver, and then they got the driver, and then above that they don't know whether to go step up or mini gun or wherever, and this thing kind of fills a hole that kind of wasn't really there before in the quiver. I mean, a lot of his pro team, a lot of Matt's pro team, like touring around the world and stuff, like had boards like this in their quiver, but they were customs. And when they released the step driver, it definitely, I think, filled a gap for a lot of shortboarders' quivers. Like something that that's the biggest thing is like keep the feel like your shortboard, so it's not like some dramatically different board, but make it handle better waves,
for sure.
like more confidently, but still feel like a shortboard. So how'd this thing transition like from what you were riding in your shortboard to riding this, like going back and forth like between your normal everyday board?
Really not too bad. It's just, so I had the driver 2.0 at the time in round, and it was like really not too much of a difference. It's a little tighter, it just held a lot more for bigger waves.
Right.
Just for more top to bottom waves. And it did pretty well in like barreling waves too. I liked it for sure.
And what are the dimensions on this board?
We got 5'9" by 18.44 by 2.3.
And what's the float on it?
25.25.
And were you riding this board now or when you were like slightly shorter, slightly lighter?
Slightly shorter, like probably 10 less pounds.
So you were like what height and weight you think when you were riding this thing?
Yeah, like 5'8", 5'9" by 135, 140.
Okay,
maybe?
so you're riding it like at about your height or maybe an inch over your head.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so definitely a little bit longer than a shortboard.
Yeah.
All right. And like, what was the wave range that this thing? Like, when did it start to work? Where it wasn't obvious you were on the wrong board?
I say like a foot overhead.
Yeah, is what it felt
overhead,
good.
like around here, like super punchy around here. So a foot overhead, it like definitely felt pretty good.
And then what about what was the smallest day that you rode it on?
I don't know. I guess just maybe like a couple days that were just kind of barreling.
And like what, like
smaller,
chest to
chest
head?
high barrels, little barrels.
And how'd it go in that sort of stuff, like quote unquote smaller, but still chest to head here, which is still packs punch. How'd it go on that stuff?
Oh, it did really good.
And then what was the bigger, like kind of the biggest? What was the biggest day you rode this thing?
Oh no, I surfed pipe on this board.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I took this to Hawaii. This was when I got it.
Okay, so you just got to keep digging with Kai. Like,
just
oh
keeps
yeah, I
on
surfed this
going,
board at
going.
pipe. It's one of
I
the
don't
boards
know.
I took to Hawaii.
I didn't ride this on like the bigger days. Definitely not. But like a couple of days, it was pretty solid.
And so
not very solid, but pretty solid.
But yeah, so how big was it?
I don't know.
2 foot?
Around here, like a couple feet overhead,
Right.
maybe double overhead.
Okay, all right. And how did it handle that stuff?
It did pretty well.
And where, out of curiosity, like where was this thing in your pipe quiver?
Just like the bottom.
So that was like your smaller wave pipe board.
So I brought like a shortboard as well, and I just pretty much ended up riding this the whole trip.
Okay, well that's cool to know. I mean, it works East Coast and it also works in Hawaii too. So, all right. So anything else you want to add? I mean, who do you think? I mean, obviously, if you have a sub driver and a driver, this would be the next step, right? So that's like and that's what I guess they call it, the step driver.
Step driver.
And the so that's an obvious quiver ad for those people. But you know, who's the surfer that wants this thing? Like, kind of paint us a picture.
I mean, if you just want a board that's gonna, rip like bigger, I wouldn't call it a step up. I wouldn't ride it as a step up, but anywhere in that, like, you got a step up and you got a good wave board, that like kind of middle range.
That's gonna be the one.
Yes, that's the one for sure.
Awesome. Well, Kai, thanks for joining us. Is it okay if I you're done with this board, right?
Yeah.
Can I have your stringy thingy?
No, I want it.
I got your stringy thingy. For any of you that have any questions on the Lost Step Driver or would like to place an order for one, you can always reach us at the shop, 252-987-6000, or look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.